Yes. It's the only time you want time to move on quite a bit. Watch a lot. Yes, it is. Hello and welcome. I would like to call this meeting to order of the Kalamazoo City Commission for Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Here.
Commissioner Hess.
Here.
Commissioner Knott. Commissioner Pradle.
Present.
Commissioner Urban.
Here.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Is there a motion to excuse Commissioner Knott?
So moved.
Made by Commissioner Cunningham, supported by Commissioner Hess. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Commissioner Knott is excused. For our opening ceremony tonight, we have invocation from Reverend David W. Zomer from the Bethany Reformed Church. And after that, we will be having the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's bow our heads. I pray for a blessing upon this meeting tonight, upon each counselor, upon each citizen, for brevity of word and clarity of logics and brain and genuineness of heart. Thank you for the city you've given us and that great responsibility. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So tonight we are lucky enough to have some guests, including our treasurer, Mary Balkema, who will be making a presentation on the Attainable Housing Partnership. If you'd like to come forward, I know there's representatives from Home Builders Association, LISC, I see you here, Chuck, Matt Lager. All right, take it away.
Just wait for the clicker.
The secret of the lost clicker. Is it down on the first floor? Does anybody have an introductory song or anything while we're waiting here?
Could hum a few bars.
Scott, can you do that? Can you make the changes?
I guess we can.
So Clerk Borling, is this going to be possible?
I think so.
Okay.
No. Right. I'll just have to say next slide. Easy enough.
Trying to get to my email.
If it's going to take a moment, Clerk Borling, we could do the proclamation and change the agenda a little bit here. Do we need any special action for that? Okay, so let's do that. We do have a proclamation tonight. We'll go ahead and do that. And the proclamation is for March for Meals Month. And I understand there are some folks here to accept that. Commissioner Hess is going to be reading it, and I will head down to the podium. Commissioner Hess.
Welcome to John Garcia, the Nutrition Program Supervisor for Kalamazoo County, and Abby Finn, the Nutrition Programs Manager for Senior Services of Southwest Michigan.
Just me.
Just Abby. Whereas, on March 22, 1972, President Richard Nixon signed into law a measure that amended the Older Americans Act of 1965 and established a national nutrition program for seniors 60 years and older. And whereas Meals on Wheels America established the March for Meals campaign in March 2002 to recognize the historic month, the importance of the Older Americans Act nutrition programs, both congregate and home delivered, and raise awareness about the escalating problem of senior hunger in America. And whereas the 2020 observance of March for Meals celebrates 18 years of providing an opportunity to support the Meals on Wheels programs that deliver vital and critical services by donating, volunteering, and raising awareness about senior hunger and isolation. And whereas Volunteers for Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo, Michigan are the backbone of the program, and they not only deliver nutritious meals to seniors and individuals with disabilities who are at significant risk of hunger and isolation, but also caring concern and attention to their welfare. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo provide nutritious meals to seniors throughout Kalamazoo region that help them maintain their health and independence, thereby preventing unnecessary falls, hospitalizations, and/or premature institutionalization. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo provide a powerful socialization opportunity for millions of seniors to help combat the negative health effects and economic consequences of loneliness and isolation. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Kalamazoo deserve recognition for the contributions that they have made and will continue to make to local communities, the state of Michigan, and our nation. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 53rd City Commission, I, David F. Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, do hereby proclaim March 2020 as the March for Meals Month in Kalamazoo and encourage residents to recognize and support the work being done to combat senior hunger and isolation in America.
Yeah, thank you very much for recognizing us today. We had our kickoff event this morning for our recognition of our volunteers. It's a really big month for us just to raise awareness. We're so fortunate right now to not have a waiting list for our programs, so we're able to serve anyone who calls right away. So it's, really helped us to be able to impact people immediately rather than them just calling us when they really need us. We're able to, kind of work with them and help to prevent something more serious. So we really appreciate you guys recognizing us today. Thank you on behalf of the agency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening.
Thank you very much, Clerk Borling, first. Appreciate that. All right, here we go.
Well, good evening, and first of all, thank you for the opportunity to provide you with this brief presentation about the Kalamazoo Attainable Homes Partnership. I'm Jeff Toffel, CEO of the Home Builders Association of Western Michigan, and for the record, I live and work outside the city. Hopefully, you have noticed the 4 new homes that are being built in the Edison, Eastside, Vine, and West Douglas neighborhoods. I'll start with a brief overview of the partnership and then a little about the Home Builders Association and then the homes themselves. The primary partners of the Kalamazoo Attainable Homes Partnership are listed on the screen. Each of us has a specific role unique to our individual organization's expertise. Our lead partners are the Local Initiative Support Corporation, or LISC, the City of Kalamazoo, and the Foundation for Excellence, and a special thank you to the city and the foundation for making this possible. The Home Builders Association of Western Michigan, Kalamazoo, KNHS Home Ownership Services, and the Kalamazoo County Land Bank Authority. And I would be remiss, however, if I didn't point out that there are dozens of additional partners that are providing various products and services at reduced rates to make these builds possible. The goals of the Attainable Partnership are clear and simple. Create more decent, safe, attainable housing in Kalamazoo. Bring quality new home construction to the underserved neighborhoods in Kalamazoo. Create positive impacts on home values and support neighborhood stabilization. And help our community find ways to improve housing that is attainable for families. And we have a pretty high aspiration for this program. With our KAHP partners, we're working together on a multi-year vision of up to 8 new homes being built per year. These are quality homes in the core neighborhoods of Kalamazoo at far below market rates. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the Home Builders Association of Western Michigan. First of all, Western to us is Kalamazoo and the 6 surrounding counties. Our professional association is 74 years old and comprised of more than 400 member companies, builders, remodelers, material suppliers, banks, credit unions, even nonprofits and others, all who are stakeholders in residential construction and remodeling. What sets our members apart is that our members must be licensed and appropriately insured, and most importantly, they voluntarily subscribe and do business under our strict code of ethics. Our involvement in the KAHP is one way that we live out our tagline of building homes and strengthening communities. Attainable means not only affordable, but high quality. The KAHP homes are highly energy efficient with design and product selection that not only means lower cost to build, but very low cost for homeowners in both utilities and home maintenance. These 2-story homes are just over 700 square feet per floor with ready-to-finish basements pre-plumbed for additional full bath and egress window for an additional bedroom. We have been able to build these homes at an amazing $117 per square foot. That's well below the original target we set at $125 per square foot. And as a point of reference, entry-level custom homes typically start at about $200 a square foot these days. This brings up the biggest hurdle for new construction in our core neighborhoods. Even with these reduced costs, it simply costs more to build the homes than they're likely to appraise for. So how do we reduce costs so much? The column on the right side of the screen highlights those efforts. All of the photos that you'll see in the presentation this evening are from the completed home at the corner of East Stockbridge and March in the Edison neighborhood. The KAHP homes are designed for active families, and they fit the custom or the historic homes that are in the neighborhood. They all have highly desired features like a large walk-in pantry, upstairs washer and dryer hookups, 50-year shingles on the roof, and much more. I could talk about the homes for the rest of our time, but instead I'd like to consider, or have each of you consider that I'm personally inviting you for a tour at your convenience. Just let me know when, either I or one of our initial 4 builders, Wausau Homes, and I'd like to recognize Troy Freed, who is chairman of the HBA and one of our builders, Troy. Aaron Hovestad of Landmark Homes of Michigan, who is the HBA first vice chair. He's also one of our first 4 builders. as well as Dan Martz with Martz Home Construction and Kevin Osborne from Osborne Construction. Ultimately, though, we are building these homes for our neighbors. So to tell us more about the home buyers, it's my pleasure to introduce Matt Lager, Executive Director of KNHS Homeownership Services.
Hi. Oh, sure. I'm Matt Lager. I live and work in the city of Kalamazoo, and I'm the Executive Director of KNHS Homeownership Services. Go there. So KNHS's role in the nonprofit ecosystem in Kalamazoo is all about home ownership and neighborhood revitalization. We work with aspiring homeowners or people that are trying to preserve their home ownership that are under 80% of the area median income. In HUD terms, that's low and moderate income. For context, that's a family of 4 earning at the max about $56,000. The neighborhoods we work in are, as Jeff said, the core neighborhoods that form a ring around downtown Kalamazoo. Over the last 2 years, the role we've played in Kalamazoo for the low and mod income population is that 220 of our customers have purchased their first home. That means they've come to KNHS, done the education classes, the credit repair, the financial capabilities coaching, and at the end of the day found an attainable or affordable home on the open market. One thing I've seen in the past 2 years is that finding the home that customers want is becoming more of a challenge. The supply of homes in the city has declined for natural reasons. And some of our clients are really starting to look elsewhere. I mean, for the first time, I'm seeing a couple of people every year that are purchasing in communities like Galesburg because they're not finding what they want in the city of Kalamazoo when they come to KNHS hoping to find in Kalamazoo. That's what I think for KNHS customers is so exciting about these houses. If you can go to the next slide. From a neighborhood revitalization standpoint, this project, this program really hits on all cylinders. It's infill housing, which means it's taking lots on existing blocks where houses have come down and sort of filling in those missing pieces. They are only available through us to low and moderate income customers, and they're affordable for the customers that we serve. And they're oftentimes the nicest house on a block. What Jeff said is really true. These houses do blend in the neighborhood. When you see the house on Stockbridge in March, you're probably going to want to bring the address with you because the first time you drive by, if you're driving 25 miles per hour, it fits the character of the neighborhood. It looks like the other houses on the block. And from a KNHS customer standpoint, 2 of the initial 4 builds are already under contract with our customers. They love it because it's a 4-bedroom house, and that's really hard to find right now on the market. 2 full bathrooms, and that basement Jeff talks about is really important. Having a dry, new basement system is sometimes hard to find in the neighborhood real estate market. KNHS's role in this partnership is, as I said, bringing those customers through that are excited about these houses and excited to be purchasing these. We also take on the financing role. So while the FFE funding fills that appraisal gap, we take out a loan, in this case either from LISC or First National Bank of Michigan has been a great partner in this as well, so that we finance the house, the commercially reasonable portion of the houses on the open market. And then at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make sure a good, sustainable homeowner moves into that house. To talk a little bit more about that structure is Mary Balkema, the chair of LISC.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema. I live in the city by day and by night, and I serve as the LISC Board Chair, and I stand before you in that capacity. I would like to recognize a couple of our board members in the audience, the lovely Laura Lamb, and also our awesome police chief, Carrie Ann Thomas, sit on the LISC board. I would like to thank them for their leadership and their wisdom and guidance in all of this good work. I would also like to recognize the LISC leadership in the audience, Chuck Vliek and Zach Bauer. LISC has invested over $100 million in the city over the last 3 decades. I think that's a big deal. Say $100 million. So that means they are committed to this work. They have experience in this work. They've been in the city for 3 decades. We have several $100,000 in 6 multifamily units with some pre-development work. So not only in single-family housing, but in some multifamily units. In the city of Saginaw, which is larger than the city of Kalamazoo, since 1950, there has not been one new house built without a subsidy. And we can see that in urban cities across Michigan, that this work is really, really hard, and the houses are not appraising out. So how do you do this work? I think you do it with a plan. So we have a plan, we have property, we have 400 vacant lots of the city, we have great people, and we have great partnerships. So I think those 4 Ps really, really make a difference and make this work possible. Finally, I need to have one plug-in. If you are experiencing hardship with your property taxes, we also have a partnership with the city and LISC and the Foundation for Excellence, and we can help those. And so those folks experiencing foreclosure, the deadline is March 31st. So we still have 100 people in the city who are homeowners on the foreclosure list. And me and my chief deputy, Megan Bawald, is here. We are prepared and ready to help every single person avoid tax foreclosure. So again, I would like to thank the home builders for their investment in the city. As you know, they helped for free with the Fast Built on the east side. They helped with the addition of the Tree of Life School in the Edison neighborhood, the small private school for kids. They helped for free with a hospitality house on Burdick Street. They also did a fast build and a full gut rehab on the east side. So not only are they building in the city, but they have given countless hours of volunteer time in the city of Kalamazoo too. So we are proud of them. We're proud of KNHS in the city and the foundation and your leadership for this continued good work. So I'd like to thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Mary. Commissioners, are there any questions for any of the presenters this evening? Vice Mayor Griffin.
Thank you for this presentation. I think this is amazing work. It's definitely needed. I just have one quick question. For the units or for the homes that are being built, are the people who are moving into them from the neighborhood?
Yeah, they are. They're City of Kalamazoo people, and they started their home ownership journey looking for houses in the neighborhood. One of them, at least, the story wasn't really satisfied with what she was finding, and this really was perfect for her. She jumped at this opportunity.
And you mean, and I just want to be clear, people who actually live in the core neighborhoods,
Yes.
buying homes in the core neighborhoods?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Other questions, Commissioners? Although this is somewhat tangential, still important in your role as county treasurer, which you mentioned, Mary, you're talking about the fact that there are still homeowners in the city of Kalamazoo who are coming up now on a March 31st date to have taxes paid. Is there any assistance anyone here on the city commission could provide to your office to help reach out to those homeowners and do as much as we can to keep those homes from tax foreclosure?
Sure, me and you are doing doors again later this month. You just might not have seen it on your calendar yet, but thank you very much for that. And I think I might also ask the vice mayor to assist. And so since you're smiling, I think that that's a yes.
Thank you so much. Anything else, commissioners? Appreciate your presentation, appreciate your great work. Thank you so much. Commissioners, you have before you the agenda for this evening. Are there any changes for the agenda? All right, seeing none, now is an opportunity for anyone in the audience. If you want to speak on an item that is under Section F, which is the consent agenda, you'll need to ask for it to be moved to the regular agenda. Are there any such requests? Seeing none, the next item is communications. Are there any communications, City Manager Ritzma?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to invite forward Assistant Chief Jeff Vanderweer. He's going to give a short presentation on what's known as the coronavirus or COVID-9 virus and how the city's handling it, and just to get more information out there about what's going on.
Thank you, City Manager. Mayor Anderson, Vice Mayor Griffin, City Commissioners. I was asked to give you a brief update as to the COVID-19, or commonly referred to coronavirus. As of today, there are approximately 90,000 confirmed cases globally. Most of those originated in mainland China, which they have about 80,000 plus cases. Currently, the United States has 101 confirmed cases, but 44 of those came from the Diamond Princess cruise ship you may have read about that was quarantined, and they brought the American citizens back to the United States for care. There are currently no confirmed cases in the state of Michigan. The closest confirmed cases to us are in Chicago, Illinois, Cook County, where there's 3. There are a few cases in Canada bordering Detroit, close to the border. I want to put something in perspective to you, and I apologize, my data for the flu season is about 30 days out of date, but as of January, to put this in perspective, there are 32 million people globally that had suffered the flu virus. Over 310,000 were hospitalized, and over 18,000 deaths have occurred as a result of the flu virus. I think it's important to bring that to light because while we need to be diligent and concerned about the coronavirus, it's important that we weigh what we're spreading and what we're telling this community so that we don't create fear or panic. KDPS is currently doing several things in response to the virus. We are having daily conversations both internally and with our external partners, the County Health Department, the Kalamazoo County Office of Emergency Management, and Dr. Fales. With that communication, we are also going to start a communication campaign with the citizens of the community. Today we worked on, and it will be up shortly, our city website will be linked with the County Health Department so that there's a consistent message being sent throughout the county as it relates to this virus. Additionally, KDPS will begin a social media campaign focused around just general precautions similar to flu precautions, such as washing hands and staying home if you don't feel well, and stuff like that. Lastly, we have begun pre-planning for contingencies for our first responders at KDPS. Those include, currently, there are EMD dispatch protocols in place, whereas if someone calls 911 and they're exhibiting symptoms such as respiratory distress, fever, not feeling well, that will elicit further screening questions as to potential, had they been out of the country in the last 2 weeks, have they been around someone that could have been affected or could have been out of the country. If any of those questions come back positive, that information is immediately relayed to first responders while they're responding, and we'll institute additional personal protection protocols with that patient. We have also begun procuring additional equipment such as hand sanitizer, mask, protective gowns, both for our use on the street with our first responders to protect them, as well as to utilize on patients that may have a positive indication for a potential COVID-19 virus. And all of our personnel are currently going through protocol and precautions training relative to that virus. At this time, my recommendation quite simply is we stay in communication with the community and that we try not to create any more fear or panic relative to this virus. If there's any questions that the commission might have, I'd be more than happy to answer them now.
Yes, Commissioner Cunningham.
What is the incubation period before you start to see symptoms? How long is that incubation period?
Can be anywhere from 2 to 14 days, according to the CDC.
I think that's just good for general information for the public, too.
Any other questions for Assistant Chief Vanderweer? Yes, Commissioner Pradel.
Any of those regional, any of those cases that are close within the region, like Chicago, or like you said, across in Canada, were any of those spread by community spread that you're aware?
I don't have that information in front of me, no. Okay. Sorry.
Any other questions, Commissioners? Thank you very much, Assistant Chief
Thank you.
Vanderweer. Appreciate that. City Manager. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Item F. City Manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 13 items on the consent agenda for approval, and then one being held until March 16th, 2020. First is the approval of the purchase of a 60-foot articulating aerial truck from L-Tech Industries Incorporated of Creedmoor, North Carolina, through the My Deal Cooperative Purchasing Program in the amount of $169,393. Next is the approval of a professional service agreement and subsequent purchase order with Jones & Henry Engineers for the 33rd Street Water Main Project in the amount of $268,500. Next is the approval of a contract with Hoffman Brothers Incorporated for the Stockbridge Water Main CIPP lining project in the amount of $171,978. Next is the approval of a professional service agreement with the Foster Group in the amount of $140,000 for preparation of the water and wastewater utility financial plan, service agreement assistance, true-up and rate studies, and general consulting services. Next is the approval of a contract supplemental and subsequent change order with Big Truck Rental for rental of a Packer truck in the amount of $38,965.60. Next is the approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Activate Healthcare LLC for the oversight of health clinic site improvements in the amount of $119,484 and approval of a budget amendment for the same amount. Next is the approval of the purchase of 2 John Deere 310 SL HL backhoes with buckets, hydraulic breakers, and compactors, and 1 John Deere 544L wheel loader with AIS construction equipment in the amount of $423,200. Next is the approval of a 1-year contract with Earthworks Lawn and Landscape for the 2020 property maintenance services in the amount of $116,350. Next is the adoption of a notice of intent resolution for the issuance of 2020 capital improvement bonds in the amount not to exceed $11,750,000. Next is the adoption of a notice of intent resolution for the issuance of 2020 water supply system revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $45,500,000. Next is the adoption of a notice of intent resolution for the 2020 wastewater system revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $11 million. Next is the approval of the release of the 2020 draft action plan for a 30-day public comment period beginning on March 6, 2020, as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Next is the approval of fiscal year 2019 budget amendments, resulting in the following net impacts: a decrease in the general fund budget of $149,000, an increase in the capital improvement budget by $213,000, and an increase in the water fund budget by $1,730,000. And finally, acceptance of 11 tax foreclosed properties from the Kalamazoo County Treasurer.
Thank you, City Manager Ritzma. So, Commissioners, the requested action is to approve items 1 through 13, postpone item 14 until March 16th, 2020, and authorize the City Manager to sign all documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
Support.
Made by Commissioner Urban, supported by Commissioner Cunningham. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Urban.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items on the consent agenda are approved. We have nothing on our regular agenda. Under reports and legislation, City Manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple of announcements. First, the Kalamazoo City Commission will meet in special session for its annual retreat on Saturday, March 14, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. at the Foundry located at 600 East Michigan Avenue. And then next, just want to remind everyone that the 2020 census will begin this month, and all residents can expect to receive instructions in the mail in the next couple of weeks. Answers are private, legally protected, and can only be used to produce statistics. There is no citizenship question. Make sure everyone in your house is counted. The City of Kalamazoo and many nonprofits will be participating to assist everyone with having the opportunity to complete the 10-question survey through March and April. More information will be provided on these locations as the time nears. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Attorney Robinson, any reports?
No, Your Honor.
Clerk Borling, any reports?
I would just encourage people to, if you already have an absentee ballot out, to get that in. Then also, I just want to note the question has been coming up as candidates drop out of the primary. What happens if you've voted for one of those candidates, you've already turned your ballot in, you can get a replacement ballot if you wish to change your vote. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Clerk Borling. So I believe the deadline for getting a replacement ballot is this Friday. Is that correct?
So the deadline, there's actually two deadlines. On Friday at 5 p.m. is the deadline for us mailing out any absentee ballot to a voter. So if a voter wants us to mail a ballot to them, we need to get that request by the end of the day on Friday so we can get it in the mail. If you can come into the city clerk's office, you can get that replacement ballot up until 4 p.m. on the day before Election Day in the office, in person.
All right, in the office. So if you already mailed it in and you voted for someone and that person has withdrawn their name from consideration, you can just ask for your ballot back? Is that how that works?
Correct. What happens is we actually take that ballot that the voters already submitted, we spoil it, that's the official term, and then we issue a new ballot to the voter who can then vote that ballot.
And does that voter have to do that in person?
They, after, on Saturday and after that, yes, they need to come in person to do that because we can't mail the replacement ballot out at that point. But before then, technically, yes, you could go ahead and request that your ballot be spoiled and we can mail it to you. There is a more practical issue, though, of is the mail going to turn that around in time? And if you do want to do that, any request for a spoiled ballot, whether it's this issue of a candidate dropping out or for any other reason, we do have to have that request in writing with your signature. So, and that can be, if you can write something up, sign it, and email it to us, that counts, but it does have to have your signature on it.
Thank you, Clerk Borling. Now is the opportunity for citizen comments. Anyone wishing to address the City Commission on any topic should come to the podium, give your name, and whether you live in the city, you will have 4 minutes to make your comments. I just want to remind you that this is not a time for interaction with the City Commission, so this is a full time for you to express yourself on any topic of interest, and there will be more opportunity afterwards if there are specific things that might need some response. Yes.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Devin Loker. I represent the refinery here in Kalamazoo. I appreciate the release of the draft adult use ordinance. I like the separation distance exceptions for residents. They could go all the way down to 0 in some instances, especially considering the micro business, given maybe the co-op opportunity there. I attended Commissioner Cunningham's community event last week. Thanks for putting that on. I listened to the city police chief say that they cannot wait until these rec shops are here. They want to have regulated cannabis here, and they want it now. He went on to elaborate that 3 out of the 6 shootings in the city this year have been around high-value, unregulated market activity. Please make our community safer. and make it safer now. Let these existing regulated businesses apply and compete with these unregulated operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Evans. I have a concern. I have a concern about the Marathon gas station on Douglas. I live on Marywood up the hill, and I'm down there all the time. There, our prices have been $2.12 as low as $2.19 gas, and their gas is always $2.50, $2.64. They never change it, and it's in the inner city, and that's not fair. People go to that gas station, and I'm telling you, ever since it's been there, the gas stays the same. They might move it up a little or two down, but that's in the inner city. Something wrong with that picture, okay? And I've been taking pictures of it, and I've been keeping up with the prices, and the gas was $2.12 or $2.20 this week, last week, and this week. Their gas is still $2.65 and $2.70. Well, not $2.70, don't go that high, but it's on there now, $2.65, $2.54. They need to get checked. Trust me, they've been doing that ever since they've been open, and nobody's saying nothing about it. And it's in the inner city, so that means they just gouging our people. It's bad, and it's been there ever since it's been there. Don't even go down. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi there, I'm Melissa Ray. This isn't what I came for, but I wanted to comment on what he was saying about the medical marijuana, or the recreational use marijuana documentation. I know you guys are working on the social equity plan. I can appreciate that. If it takes you extra time on the social equity plan to give people a chance to get out of jail and to actually make sure there's some social equity written into it for black folks, please take your time. They can wait. The white folks can wait. So thank you for bringing that up. That isn't what I came for. You guys just recently signed a resolution for a climate crisis. You guys do resolutions, the county does resolutions, and the resolutions mean nothing. It's a stage play. Please stop playing games. Do something with the resolution. You've admitted there's a crisis, there's a problem. Do something about it. Styrofoam takes 500 years to break down in our landfills. Ban it. We don't need it in our city. The restaurants can jack their prices up a couple pennies. Their patrons, if they have good customer service and quality food, their patrons are not going to mind. We can all do our part a little bit, but signing resolutions just to create a candy cane coalition show for everyone so everyone can go back home and feel good about themselves and act like they did something and nothing gets done is unacceptable in our community and is unacceptable to our climate. Put something on the table and get moving toward it, because we know it's going to take months and you're going to have to give the community members time to make the changes in their environments. Please.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, I'm Jody Dozeman. I live in Kalamazoo City. I've been addressing some things. You didn't have the neighborhood watch meeting tonight. I had a few things for that, to keep the neighborhoods cleaned up. I got some new ideas. I have some other things I'd like to put together with it, like for the neighborhood watch. I'll explain that. But you had a dedicated month for child trafficking awareness, and I don't remember the month that was in, but I got some ideas that would help, as well as the neighborhood clean up some things like that. What I don't understand is how, like, Don Seeley can guarantee Social Security checks, but when a Social Security check goes to a child, you don't see enforcement of food, cafeteria food assistance for them. I never seen any proof with my daughter that it was being spent on her for those reasons. I think there's systems and ways that you could put something like that together. I also had some other ideas for the elderly people and the handicapped people, because I noticed a handicapped lady having to walk up 10 steps, get in the house, and up another flight of stairs to get to the next level. And she had a walker, and she was, to me, extremely handicapped for that type of situation. So I guess my idea is I'm going to put a few more things together, and I'll turn them in, because some of the stuff I talked about is rather my opinion and my insights and my concern for my daughter's freedom. So I'll just kind of keep it at that, and hopefully I can work and bring some better happenings to the community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, the time for citizen comments is over. Now is the opportunity on our agenda for commissioner comments. Are there any commissioners who would like to make a comment tonight? Oh. Okay, Commissioner Hess.
I just want to remind everyone that on March 4th, on Wednesday, March 4th, the only day on the calendar that's a command, you can visit the streets meeting in the Van Dusen room of the public library beginning at 6:30 to get an update on what's going on with the street planning. And also, thanks to Melissa for bringing us comments and information about our climate change declaration. While I agree with the excitement of that, I do think that we have to do some things. We can participate in the spring spruce up downtown, cleaning up, picking up downtown on April 22nd, actually on Earth Day, Wednesday, April 22nd. And if you want to volunteer yourself or a team, you can go to downtownkalamazoo.org and do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Anyone else? Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes, I just want to quickly make sure everybody's aware of the input sessions for the housing ordinance that was discussed on the 24th, Wednesday, March 11th, from 5:30 to 7:30 here at Commission Chambers, Thursday, March 12th, from 4 that time's wrong, 4 to 5:30 at Washington Square Library. There also will be some time for open input session at Community Planning and Economic Development at 245 North Rose, the 11th and the 12th between 1 and 3.
Yes, Commissioner Urban.
I want to add that the input session that's going to be held at the City Commission Chambers on the 11th is going to be, you can watch that on YouTube. It's available on cable access through Public Media Network. So if you can't make it down here, you can listen to what your fellow citizens are saying and asking via streaming television or YouTube. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Cradle.
I just wanted to thank Jim Cornell and his team at the wastewater treatment plant. They gave me a tour this last week on Thursday. If you have not had a chance to tour the facility, it is quite remarkable. It's kind of hidden behind a lot of structure, so you often cannot see how vast of a plant it is, but it's really remarkable, and I want to thank him and his team for their time last week. Also had a chance to attend the Kalamazoo's Complete Street Advisory Committee. They're looking for additional members on that group. It was fun to attend that and just hear a lot of their creative ideas and learned about zebra crosswalks and all of that exciting jazz. So it was a very educational opportunity for me as well. And then also just wanted to give, kind of lift up and provide some props to Commissioner Cunningham as well. He put a lot of work into putting on a recreational marijuana forum last Wednesday, which was very well attended, had about 40 or 50 individuals, a number of individuals from the city as well, and just think it's just great to see that level of effort put into making sure that people had a chance to ask questions, expertise was shared, there was a panel discussion. It was just a great opportunity and really neat to see that leadership coming from the commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradle. Anyone else? All right, just a few comments from me then. I also wanted to thank Commissioner Cunningham for the folks he pulled together, provide some information, have an important conversation over at the Douglas Community Association last week. It is always amazing to me how many things are going on any given evening in Kalamazoo, and all the people that volunteer and do that work. It's astounding, really. And just a short list of some of the things I was able to attend was I did get a chance to go to the Western women's basketball game this Saturday. They do have another home game before the season's over. They won again. They're on a bit of a streak there. I did provide a proclamation from us here at the city recognizing their efforts, so you will have a chance yet. $6 general admission. Go root for the team. It was fantastic. Another event that I went to is one we don't talk about much here, kind of lower profile, I guess. There is a Kalamazoo boxing club that some folks have been involved in for years and years. Curtis Isaac is the person who keeps that going now. And they have support from the general support from the Catholic Diocese, as a matter of fact, here in town, and hold their public competitions over at St. Mary's, which is on Humphrey Street, and there was one on Saturday night. So a lot of great competitors there. There were clubs from Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Muskegon, all over the place. Large event, packed, and at that event we recognized and provided a proclamation from the city for, John Caldwell, who actually is very involved with boxing years and years ago here in town, and also had quite a stellar career here in Kalamazoo Public Schools. So he came, was recognized. That was the first time I've actually spoken from inside the ropes at a boxing event. So that was a first for me as well. And just the last thing I want to recognize tonight is that a local business person who called himself Taco Bob, and I guess I'll recognize him as Taco Bob here tonight, but local, iconic business person who brought, as was described in his the announcement from his friends and family, lived life with joy and tried to bring that to his business here in town, has unfortunately passed away. So I wanted to recognize him. And two things: let's all try to do that work together with joy that he brought to his work. As we go forward, I think that is a legacy that we can carry forward in recognizing the work that he's done. And let's keep doing the good work here in Kalamazoo. We're adjourned.